welcome back, everybody, to the Go Media podcast. This series is dedicated to tips, tricks, and tales of the business-minded artist and designer. It's our way of letting you inside of the Go Media studio here in Cleveland to see how we work. My name is Bryan Garvin, and I am a developer here at Go Media. I'm also involved on the WMC6 team, along with a new member of the podcast team, Heather Sakai. I'll introduce you to her momentarily. It's been a while. Hopefully, you found the podcast after our big snafu a few months back. You might have noticed that we disappeared from your podcast feed after we merged GoMediaZine.com and our main site, GoMedia.us. That has since been resolved, and we have a new home for the podcast at GoMediaPodcast.com. You can find all of our subscription options there, as well as the full archive of all episodes we've put together over the last 3 years. And really, before we get into the heart of the conversation for today, it's probably about time I come clean about why you haven't heard from us since November. And by November, I think I really mean August, since the last real episode that we released, which was the live podcast from WMC Fest 5. There's been quite a few changes over here at Go Media, especially over the last 6 months. A lot of new things that we as a company have been trying to accomplish. Some have been a little bit more successful than others, but we've been putting some time into different areas, which means less time that we could be dedicating to the podcast. And, you've probably heard Jeff Finley, one of the founding members of the company, one of the partners, obviously a huge voice here on the podcast. He made his announcement shortly after last year's fest, that he'd be leaving Go Media. So it's kind of put us all in a weird mental state as we're trying to figure out how to best move forward, especially here on the podcast. So, in September and October, I also took a short leave from Go Media, and worked remotely from my parents' farmhouse in the middle of Florida. My father took ill, and as he recovered from his surgeries, I took care of the farm while doing work in between. The sun rises. My God, the sun rises at 6 a.m. on a farm in the middle of nowhere, Florida, really put my life in a different perspective, especially considering, right around September, October, it's getting cold. It's getting cold in Cleveland, and it was a nice 70, 80 degrees every single day. But again, back up here in Cleveland, the cold brought winter colds. Bill and I both lost time at the office because of colds, which hasn't left us a lot of time to do anything but catch up on our billable work. So today, though, I thought I'd take a moment. I caught a little bit of a break in my schedule and decided to finally record 2 months after we originally put it on the calendar. So Bill, of course, is still catching up, so he won't be here. But next episode, maybe. We'll see. We'll see what happens. This is episode 28 and marks the beginning of season 3. Yes, I think we can officially say that we've properly planned this podcast to be split into seasons. Okay, well, maybe not. But we did see a few trends as we took a look back while planning out this season. So this is how we saw it. Season 1 was more focused on the general design industry topics. It was our introduction to podcasting. So we were kind of attacking different things that the industry was feeling, as well as us. But it was also a good way for us to promote the people who made WMC Fest 4 possible. Season 1 contained the first 19 episodes. Season 2 brought in more interviews that and was more about, what was happening around the design world here in Cleveland. It only carried 8 episodes and really didn't do WMC Fest 5 a lot of justice, at least comparatively. So this season is going to be a bit different. Go Media is growing and working through some growing pains. Because of that, blocking out 2 to 3 hours in a day to sit down to record with 3 different people doesn't quite make sense, especially for what really is, at the end of the day, non-billable work. The podcast hasn't turned in any kind of profit yet, and while that's obviously a goal in the future, it's not the priority. The priority of the podcast is to continue to give us a way to share our story with you and to continue to build our relationships with you. As far as the billable work versus non-billable work discussion, we'll probably get a bit more in depth about that when we talk to Bill in a future episode. But expect more focus this season on the people, products, stories, and services that make up Go Media, as well as what Heather and I are experiencing as we throw our first event, personally, which is Weapons of Mass Creation 6, which we're going to talk quite a bit about today. But before we begin, though, let's talk about what Go Media has been up to. All right, so the first thing that we want to talk about is, podcast related. GoMediaPodcast.com is now a thing. It's something that we had the domain before, but we weren't really using it. We were just forwarding it to a section in the zine. So it was like GoMediaZine.com/podcast or something along those lines. And while we're still doing that in a way, it's more focused. So now you have just the podcasts, and they're listed in a lot better way than they were before. So, it's an isolation of all podcast episodes on one page. We only have 28 episodes right now if you include today's. And, it didn't really make a whole lot of sense to get into the pagination side until we could really see, where this was going to go. So for the time being, GoMediaPodcast.com is a single page. All of the show details, like the show notes, all those links are just going to point to the main zine article that we write. Just because we include a lot more information, and, the feed that you subscribe to for GoMediaPodcast.com is just going to be the podcast itself. I spoke briefly as we introduced this episode about billable versus non-billable work. There's a new trend in Go Media to spend less time on internal work and trying to devote more time to client work. The Go Media Podcast is a project that's been on the back burner for, a year at least. And, don't have the time for it, but I found a day. I found a day where I didn't have anything scheduled. And so, it was a real quick project. GoMediaPodcast.com was designed in browser. It was built in a single day. I had an idea of what I wanted to do, but nothing actually put into code. But it went straight into code like that day. But yeah, overall, it gives easier access to all the previous episodes with the fancy SoundCloud player. We decided to go with SoundCloud as our podcast host to try and keep stats and all in one location. Previously we were using SoundCloud, and Amazon's cloud service, along with Blueberry Stat. While we're still using Blueberry, as we're using the PowerPress plugin for WordPress, to basically manage a few things, we decided to eliminate Amazon. It was just an extra step that didn't really make sense. But now we're just hosting the MP3s in SoundCloud. SoundCloud had a beta program for podcasts, and it just made sense. So we also split the podcast into two separate series. The first is the Go Media podcast, which is this specific series. It's our conversations together as we talk about Go Media, as we talk about the design business and interview people. That's going to be the heart of what GoMediaPodcast.com is. But the second series is WMC Audio, which is a cleaned up version of the speeches given at that year's, WMC Fest. So we did it this year for WMC Fest 5. We released, I think, about 10 different episodes, under the WMC Audio series label. Just so you guys had a handful of episodes while we try to figure out what we're actually going to do with this podcast. I think there's a handful left to release, but I'm not quite sure where we stand with that. But, hopefully we'll have some more to release very soon. Also new, we've got a new Go Media email newsletter. It was designed by Carly, on staff. I was part of the build process. We had about 5 different newsletter lists in Mailchimp, which kept some of the content, very simple, very isolated, but it didn't really share the messaging or design. So and it was really just hard to maintain 5 different email lists. We never really had a main email list for Go Media that went to not only our clients, but our fans, listeners to the podcast, attendees to WMC Fest. There was no one single list that we could send this content to. So we merged our list in Mailchimp. So basically we combined Arsenal, WMC, mock up everything, Threads Not Dead, and Drawn to Business so that we can email everyone all at one time, just to kind of give you guys an idea of what we're doing across all of our different products and services. So each email newsletter that you get, you'll receive the best zine article for that month, a recent case study from the portfolio, product announcements from the arsenal and mock up everything, and obviously what's going on in WMC Fest. So if you aren't receiving this currently, we've already sent out 2. So if you haven't received one yet, go to GoMedia.com, and there is a newsletter sign up form there. So while there was a lot of good stuff happening, a lot of changes as far as processes go, and new products being released, new things being worked on, there was some sad news overall. Quite a bit of turnover, at least in our world. In Go Media, turnover isn't a big deal. We might lose one person a year, maybe. It just kind of depends on the scenario. Like, it's just such a tight-knit group that normally when we bring someone in, we bring them in for the long haul. So but yeah, we've had a bit of a turnover. As you guys know, at the end of the last year, Jeff Finley parted ways with the company, which, opened up a spot on the design team. We also lost Jeff's wife, Kim, who handled a lot of the financial duties of the company along with any other assorted random thing that we threw at her. She also was one of the main people that ran the merch tables at WMC Fest, so you've probably seen her. She also answered the phones. She was constantly doing the troubleshooting and customer support for all of our products, Arsenal, Mockup Everything, so on and so forth. Our project manager, Sarah Traxler, also departed the company right around the same time. She decided to do some exploring and start a new life off with her boyfriend in Portland, which is amazing. If you've ever connected with her on Facebook or Instagram, the photos that she posted, were so awesome. Just the trip from Cleveland to Portland, Oregon. They drove the whole way. That's a trip I want to make one day. But since then, we've brought in quite a few people. One of those people are Renee Gabella. She's going to be handling project management duties. She came in right around November or so. She also helped Go Media migrate from our in-house project management software that we called ProofLab. We moved to Podio. While that was happening, we went from a hosted Exchange server to Google Apps, which not only included mail and calendaring, but also a majority of our documentation. So proposals and notes for the client and content for population on websites and all that good stuff. So it was we needed Renee to help us there for sure. Like I said, we've been doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes, and I'm so very thankful that we made the jump to Gmail, from Exchange. Exchange was such a bear at times, especially, you needed a license for every single device you had. And I like having email on my Android phone, but I also like having it on my laptop. If we didn't have that, if we didn't move to Gmail when we did, me working remotely in Florida was going to be really difficult to keep track of email because of how our Exchange server was set up. Ernest Bluford is our new office manager, and he's fitting right in. He's been working with the sales team, trying to decide if they should go to local copies of QuickBooks to the web-based version. I know that's been a big conversation over the last month or so. Maybe we can get him on one day to tell his story on that. He's also taken the reins of mockupeverything.com and shirtmockup.com. Jordan Wong just joined our team in March and is working with Heather to make some really sweet new vector packs for the arsenal. I got a glimpse of them. I think I might have inspired one. So you might see a beard. You might see a nice beard on an upcoming, vector pack, which would be pretty cool. But overall, he's going to be joining the design team in full, once we get some things rolling for him in that direction. And then Phil Thomas has been with us as an intern for the last few months. He's an Edinburgh student who's going for his BA in theater arts, BFA and applied media arts with a concentration in graphic design. So hopefully we've been giving him as much graphic design experience as he needs to graduate. So we'll see. But overall, he's been awesome. We just started a new intern today. Her name's Jessica. I just met her, briefly this morning. So hopefully she'll be, jumping right in soon. As I wrote all of these notes for today's episode, it really put into perspective just how much is happening in Go Media. These are just like the highlights. There is so much more going on. Really, really excited about some of the changes that we're making. Bill is kind of required for that conversation. So again, hopefully we'll get him next time around, to kind of walk us through some of the changes in our process and how we're selling, and overall, the billable versus non-billable conversation. I think it's definitely something that's worth sharing. But out of everything that I've listed, we really haven't even talked about WMC Fest 6 yet, but we will right after this break. When we come back, I'll be joined by Heather Sakai to talk about everything happening with the fest and how she's growing into her new responsibilities here at Go Media. I just want to take a moment here to say that this music that you're listening to right now is our sponsorship break music. Anytime we play this, it's because we want you to be aware that we're jumping into a different gear. Realistically, though, a sponsorship break doesn't mean much for us. If you've listened to the first 27 episodes, you know that we don't have sponsors. Not because we haven't sought them out or haven't been reached out to, but realistically, it's because I failed to continue that conversation. Sales isn't my strong suit, so it always felt weird, Plus, I also wasn't too sure if those who were reaching out to us were actual listeners of the podcast, or if they were just reaching out to us because we do a podcast, we're a graphic design company, and had the reach of the zine and WMC Fest. Basically, just it never felt right. It never felt organic. And you guys know Go Media, you guys know the fest and the zine and how everything is built and how it's all community focused. We're out to help you guys, and if it doesn't feel like it's a part of the community, it's hard to commit to that. So, and at the end of the day, really, how many times do you want to listen to the same ad on every single design or development podcast that you listen to? But I'm over those feelings. It's time to get all the support we can, but not for the podcast. At least not right now. We need sponsors for WMC Fest. You can download the sponsorship PDF on WMCFest.com to see what we're trying to accomplish this year. It's a long list, but with your help, we will succeed in not only funding the fest, but also putting us in a better position next year where we can get a venue earlier, therefore book speakers earlier, therefore, you'll hear more about our experience very soon. But just go to WMCFest.com, download the sponsorship doc, and help us keep this thing going. If you haven't heard the news yet, WMC Fest 6 is happening. You can go check out the new site at WMCFest.com. This year's event will take place Friday, August 7th through Sunday, August 9th from the Allen Theater in Cleveland, Ohio. It's right in the heart of Playhouse Square, which is really in the center of the city. Right now, so many smiles between Heather and I. There's a lot of things that are finally going our way, but it's been a difficult road so far. So let's bring on Heather to talk about it. So as we start this, this conversation about WMC Fest, we should probably acknowledge the fact that it hasn't been as easy as we initially thought it was going to be. With Jeff and his team being a part of this for 5 years already, and us having access to the documentation, some of the information that they had used before. We really went in, I think, or at least I did, thinking that this was going to be a piece of cake, everything was going to fall into place, and it hasn't.
Definitely hasn't fallen into place as easily as we wanted it to. I think both of us thought that we could just take the reins and, hunt for our new venue, and we just take a peek at a couple places, find something lickety-split, and we'd be on our way. But it hasn't gone as smoothly as we would have liked. I think we're a little bit naive in that thinking, but
yeah.
I think Jeff was just so calm about everything, and so he made it look really easy.
Yeah, that was the cool thing about Jeff, is that nothing ever really seemed to bother him, at least when he was at the office. So now that we're doing everything and we're seemingly getting bothered by everything. But yeah, so there were some changes that we had to make, that were kind of mandated upon us by how the fest had gone before, specifically cash flow. So new budget restrictions, meant that quite a few things had to change. We had to cut quite a few things. Do you want to talk at all about the budget restrictions as far as like what we're trying to accomplish this year?
Yeah, so it's kind of hard to believe, but this is our 6th year of Weapons of Mass Creation Fest, and to be really quite honest, we haven't really been profitable at this point. So we've been really made aware that it's about time we turn this thing around. So as you've mentioned, we've really had to look at our budget and make sure that we cut as many things out as possible.
Without affecting,
right.
like how it comes off for you guys as far as the attendees go,
right.
As far as the speakers go. So
that's right. Yeah. Yep. We want to make sure ticket prices stay the same. We also want to make sure we really take care of our speakers and workshops, leaders and panelists. But cutting those things out of the budget that were really, really affecting us, and we also had to, like I mentioned, change our venue, and that we ended up actually this year paying more for our venue,
yeah.
So we had to cut other areas. So
yeah, so I mean, at the end of the day, the mandate was not necessarily exclusively pushed down upon us by Bill and Go Media, but while we do want to see this profitable from a business standpoint, from a fest standpoint, having some excess funds at the end of the year that we can use for the next fest, for the next year, would be awesome. Like right now, we're scrambling to try and figure out how to afford everything we want to accomplish. So, just having the extra funds, and this isn't a new issue for anyone that puts on a fest. Every podcast that I listen to, or every radio interview, or any type of interview that I've heard from other fest, people that throw those fests, they're all having that same struggle. So.
Yeah, this isn't about being money hungry or anything. This is about, like Bryan mentioned, trying to have some extra funds in order to, at the beginning of next year, put a deposit down for our venue and really treat our VIPs right and make sure they get paid, for speaking, and just having that extra money to fly them in and pay for their hotel, pay for their food, that sort of thing.
Yeah. So we've learned a few lessons. One is we've learned to try to emote better. In our initial conversations with potential sponsors or potential people that we wanted to be involved, it was obvious that we were like super stressed, and while we talked positively about what we wanted to do, it was very clear that we were unsure of ourselves. So, yeah, I don't know. It's definitely a tone thing for me because I have such a monotone way of talking. And yeah.
Yeah, for me as well. I think the stress of the venue hunt was definitely apparent in my face, and combined with Bryan's calmness, I think people probably took us the wrong way when meeting us. So yeah, it probably came off the wrong way to some folks, which which might have been bothersome to them.
So yeah, I think, we were kind of nervous. We were unsure of the situation, especially because of how long the hunt for the venue, took. I think that's when we first started to realize like how hard this was going to be. So, but yeah, I need to learn how to smile more when I'm talking and not be as like dry and brief and short. So, but okay, let's talk about the venue. It took a while to find a new venue. We made the decision. It was mutual, realistically to leave CPT. So we went all over the place, all over Cleveland, just to see like what else was out there, what else could work for us. So, I want to say I went to at least 10 different places. When I was down in Florida, you and Jeff went to maybe an additional 5-6 places. So,
yeah.
I don't know. It's like you're trying to like, for me, I'm trying to find the perfect place that matches the vibe that we've had in previous years without losing some of the, niceties, but still upgrade it too. I think we were just trying to accomplish a few different things, and finding that perfect spot was almost impossible.
It was.
Yeah.
It was. We found a lot of places that we really liked, but for one reason or the other, they weren't perfect. And whether it was they didn't have a large enough vendor space, or they didn't have quite enough space for a workshop area, or we
Air
were going to have
conditioning
to,
in the summer,
right? Or we were going to have to share a public space, which kind of got complicated. So we quickly learned that we weren't going to find a space that was perfect, and that was something that we battled with. So eventually we found the Allen Theater at Playhouse Square, which we really both liked. But they had to put us off a bit because they were waiting to announce their theater season, for the summer.
Yeah, and that's a huge undertaking for them. As you guys have probably read in the documentation we've been putting out, Playhouse Square is the largest theater district in the country, outside of New York. So there's so many different things happening, and there are many different theaters. So yeah, to kind of have to wait for that, sucked, but at the same time, like, it was definitely understood.
Yes. So, at first they gave us a January deadline, and then that got pushed back and pushed back again and again, which we totally understood. But it sure was hard to wait for that news. And in the meantime, we kept looking at different venues and had a couple backups, but, we did end up obviously waiting, to hear that good news from them. And that's where we're headed, and we're really happy with our decision. Yeah,
and this is definitely an upgrade, and that's something that we wanted to do, based on the feedback that we've received over the last few years as far as seating for the speaker stage. Those plastic fold-out chairs were a bear to have to sit all day in. So while we were looking for a few different options depending on which venue we ended up going with, the great thing about Allen Theater is it's a theater. So you've got the theater style seating, plush chairs, very comfortable seat. And yeah, so I think by far it's definitely an upgrade in that capacity. It's definitely going to be a positive change for the vibe too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and more seating as well. So a lot of the speakers last year had standing room only. So the Allen Theater has almost 500 seats. So we should be able to have some room to grow in the next couple of years, which is really nice too. And as Bryan mentioned, just the comfort of the seating I think people will really be happy with. I mean, I think some people will be a little bit concerned that we'll lose a little bit of that WMC Fest kind of grit, but we really believe we'll be able to maintain the whole WMC Fest vibe, because the same people are going to be coming. We're going to have that sense of community, the DIY feeling that we've always had. So we're not concerned about changing the tone of WMC Fest.
Sure. But, in the back of our mind, though, I mean, there is that fear that, the look of the venue is such an upgrade from previous years that, what we don't want to give off the impression that this is like just another corporate conference. Right. And, while I think the upgrade might imply that, it's definitely not the case. So, okay. Some other changes. Music?
Yeah, so we've gotten some feedback about music, and we've heard from quite a lot of people that they didn't feel that the music element was very important to their WMC Fest experience, that they were really coming to see the speakers, the workshops, the panelists, the vendor village, the ink wars, and, music was just kind of a background element to them. So we are still considering having some bands, some background music to the event. We don't really want to take it out completely.
Yeah.
But we do think that it is not a main event anymore.
Yeah, dedicating a stage to a band, while I think it did add a nice side to the event, it was always like a tertiary thing. If you're not listening to a speaker, you're doing some casual networking, you're drawing, you're drinking, you're having fun with your friends, or you're attending a workshop. I mean, there's other things that are taking your attention away from the music, and all too often, like even going back to when we were trying to do like 40 bands, a lot of those stages were empty as far as attendance. So it's I don't know. I'm with the idea that we don't want to get rid of music altogether. We do still have some options. We still want to have some kind of music playing in the vendor village area, in the and in the general lobby and whatnot, just so there's something else in the background. But as far as isolating a specific area for bands, I don't think that necessarily makes sense. So when will the schedule be announced? I think that's another question that people are asking right now.
We do have a general layout of the schedule on our site, WMCfest.com. And we are building out our speaker workshop and panelist lineup right now. So we have been reaching out to those folks that we would like to invite to be on our schedule. And that's something that we really are working on. And when do you think, Bryan, that we'll have that all up? Do you think in the next month?
Yeah, I mean, as far as the priority list goes, right now we're in the process of scheduling speakers and panelists and all that. But one of the major things that we want to get started is the tickets. So I think as soon as we can get that squared away and tickets all set up, and it's all gonna be handled through Playhouse Square. So it's gonna be a slightly different setup than you guys are used to, but all online based, or you can buy at the event when you come. But yeah, for the most part, schedule is pretty much laid out how we're going to do it on the site right now. It's just a matter of filling in those blanks, actually listing out who's speaking. So we do have quite a few already confirmed. We're in discussion with the rest of the openings. I think there's maybe 3 or 4 slots that we're not sure exactly what we're going to do with, but there's a request for speakers on the website. So, I mean, if you're interested or you have a suggestion on who you'd like to see speak at this year's fest or an upcoming fest in general, definitely reach out to us and let us know. But yeah, as far as as far as listing, who's going to be speaking and when they're going to be speaking and when those workshops are going to happen, I think we're probably still at least a month out. Yeah. But we do have one name. We do. And that is OK Pants. OK Pants will be the host. That's been announced on the site. He's basically he's going to play as moderator, introduce all the speakers, just kind of keep things organized, but he's going to be the main face on the speaker stage all day, Saturday and Sunday, which would be pretty cool.
Yep. We're definitely really excited to have him. That was just super exciting when we brought him on.
Yeah.
I mean, it was something that we really wanted to happen when we found out that we were taking WMC Fest on. I mean, it was like an immediate, choice that we wanted to make. And I mean, we just thought, Pants is the man. We wanted him on our team. So yeah. And when he said yes, we were jumping up and down. So yeah. So yeah. We hope you're excited about that. We know you will be, and we're excited to see what he does in his role.
Ink Wars has also been pretty much confirmed. But we're changing the Friday schedule. Friday, from, our observations and some feedback that we received as well, it really seemed like Friday wasn't the big event that we were hoping for. So, we had maybe like a headlining band. It was your VIP mixer. So a lot of the speakers and, panelists and whatnot, like our VIPs came, but not as many attendees. This year we want to change that. We want to make Friday night a bigger deal and a bigger part of the fest. So Ink Wars will now be on Friday night, which would be awesome. It'd be a great way to kick off the event.
Yeah.
Also changes to the schedule. You might notice this on the website. We haven't necessarily confirmed a final time, but Saturday and Sunday, most likely both days are going to end right around 8:30. So no more showing up at 10 o'clock and leaving at like midnight on both days.
1 a.m.
We wanted to create a few more breaks in the day so it's not as involved. It's not as demanding on you as an attendee, but also us, presenting or volunteering and all that stuff. So yeah, we're going to have a lunch break that will last about an hour and a half. We're going to have a dinner break that'll last about an hour and a half. And then, yeah, we're going to end the day early on Saturday. There will be an after party if you want to take part. Otherwise you guys will be free to, do your own thing, network, draw, whatever you want to do. Tour Cleveland. Again, Playoff Square is like right in the heart of downtown Cleveland. There's so much stuff going on over there. So sponsors.
Yes. Sponsors are extremely important to us here at WMC Fest. They're really the backbone of the fest. They're the way that we are able to make WMC Fest happen.
Yeah.
Takes an incredible amount of resources to put this fest on, and if it wasn't for our amazing sponsors, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. So, having said that, we definitely need help finding sponsors. So, if you or anyone you know would be able to help us in that way, we would love the help. So, you can contact us through email. You can email me at heather@wmcfest.com, or you can give us a call here at Go Media, 216-939-0000, or you can contact us through our WMCfest.com site, and we will be forever grateful.
Yeah. And there's a lot of different options as far as what kind of sponsorship levels we're looking for. It's very similar to what it was last year, but we set sights high because we know how important this fest is for the community. We know how much it means to everyone involved, all the attendees, all the speakers. There was that phrase that was dropped a few years ago, 3 days that change your life. That happened, and that continues to happen every year. So, we know how important this is, but at the same time, we know with these budget, restrictions that were placed on us, there are some changes that we have to make, but sponsorships are even more important than they've ever been. Agreed.
And no sponsorship is too small. So, we will be taking, cash sponsorships or donations, of any size, or amount. So if you can help us out in any way, we'd be appreciative. These sponsorships help in a variety of ways. So they help pay for our venue. They help pay to get our speakers here to Cleveland. They also help with things like paying for coffee for you, the attendees. So,
9:00 Saturday and Sunday. We want to have like just a quick meet and greet in the morning before the fest starts. Coffee will be served for everyone who comes, and we're hoping we can get a sponsor to help us just cover those costs. All right. So let's do some shout outs, some thanks, because there's been a lot of people that have helped us.
Yes.
Not freak out as much and helped us keep calm.
Yes.
And helped us, move forward in a good direction. Let's start with, Mike Jones from Creative South.
Yes.
Has been a huge, huge help. Yes. A very, very good voice of reason.
Yes. We call him many, many times in the middle of the night when we wake up in a cold sweat. So he usually answers. So thank you, Mike.
Lenny from Old South Supply Company.
Again, Lenny is just there with an endless amount of support, and he's been one of my biggest cheerleaders through all of this. He's just like, just keep moving forward. You can do this. I will support you in anything you do. So he's just an amazing guy. So yes, Lenny's the man.
As we have said numerous times, we had quite a few budget cuts this year. Two of the people that were affected by that were Margot and Stu. They were speaker directors last year. This year, it just didn't quite fit into what we needed to accomplish, but they've been a huge help as well. I mean, as far as lending, just their guidance, their suggestions, of how to best move forward, as we reach out to new speakers. There's Jeff.
Jeff Finley.
Yeah.
We can't even say enough about him.
Yeah, he took his sabbatical, but really he's still here.
Yeah.
Not only in spirit, but on Wednesdays for volleyball, I'm always pulling him to the side to ask just ask him questions.
Yes, he's always a text message or a call away, and he can never escape us. So, and he will be at WMC Fest, so all of you who miss him greatly, you will be able to see him.
Yep. Jordan Davis from Playhouse Square.
Jordan is an excellent man, and he is the one that we've been dealing with at Playhouse Square. He's the events guy for the Allen Theater, and he recently told us that he has had a new job opportunity, so he will no longer be the man that we are dealing with and working with. So we're really upset about that, but we're really happy for him and his new opportunity. So we really appreciate all that he's done with us so far, because he's been awesome. So shout out to Jordan, and hopefully he'll be able to come to the fest and see what we've done with it. But, he's been incredible to us all this time.
Any other shout outs?
Pants.
Well, Pants, sure, Pants, of course.
Yeah, Vance. Vance is, he's in the MC role, so, we'll mainly be needing him, the day before the fest and in the fest itself, but he's been there also as an advisor to us, so he's just been going above and beyond his role. So, and one more.
Yeah.
Lauren Hudak, who is one of our fellow Go Media colleagues. She is she's helping us with sponsorships and a lot of emotional support as well.
Yeah, she is a member of the trifecta.
Yes.
And by all means, Lauren has been wonderful. So, all right, but overall, we have a lot of positive vibes going right now.
We're smiling right now.
Everyone we've reached out to has been super positives and really into what we're trying to accomplish. Every speaker that we've reached out to is almost instantly a yes, which has been fantastic. So, hopefully we'll be able to announce a lot of those, as far as the schedule goes next month. But yeah, just love that everyone is still into the fest this year, and that you guys are keeping us motivated and keeping us going. Here's what you can expect for upcoming episodes of the Go Media podcast. First, we're going to be doing some profiles. We'll be sitting down with members of the Go Media team, including designers, developers, project managers, and the sales team to find out how they work, what their productivity tips are, and where they find their inspiration. We're also going to be going over some case studies. We'll talk with the team about specific projects that presented new challenges and how we were able to overcome them, projects that we're really proud of. And we're also going to be doing some interviews with WMC Fest speakers, workshop leaders, panelists, and sponsors. That was one thing we did very well in season 2. It kind of wasn't really a priority for some reason last season. But this season, we hope to give you guys an inside look of who is leading the conversations at this year's WMC Fest. For more information about Go Media and the work we do, you can check out GoMedia.com. All of the podcast stuff, including contact information, subscription options, and the full archive is over at GoMediaPodcast.com. You can tweet us at Go_media, post on our Facebook wall, or send an email to podcast@GoMedia.com. You can also follow at WMC Fest on Twitter and Instagram for all of the news and announcements coming out as we continue down the road to this year's fest. And as always, you can find me on Twitter at Bryan Garvin. We'll talk again sometime soon, hopefully in April. We'll see you soon. Goodbye.